Welcome back to Switch to Linux. So today we are going to have a look at the Cairo Dock. So this is the dock platform that when I want to dock on a computer, this is the one I use. There's a few different reasons why I like to use it. Now, I'm not a huge fan of docks. I prefer just a simple quick launcher at the bottom, just like the original quick launch bar on a Windows system that was introduced, I don't know, around... Actually, I think it was really old. I think that thing's always been there. Right until around Vista started replacing that functionality with pinning things to the taskbar, which is, to me, beyond infinitely annoying, which I talk about in several different videos, so I'm not going to dwell on about it anymore right now. Hello, people. Use Cairo Dock. It rocks. But when I do want to dock, I like the Cairo Dock, and one of the reasons I like the Cairo Dock is that it does have that same functionality. I can click the icon as many times as I click it, and I will get a window for each one of those instances. So it does behave like a launcher. I'm generally not a huge fan of a big dock in the middle of the screen, but there's some distros that I do like it on, some operating systems I like it on. And I like the way that the Cairo Dock works a whole lot better than the standard Mac dock. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to show you a little bit about what it is, how it works, and then we're going to talk about some of the configurations and the settings. Okay, so here we are on my Manjaro desktop. So this is Manjaro with running Budgie right now, so you can see what I have there. I'll have more updates as to my thoughts on Manjaro with Budgie here soon. So far, just a brief recap is I am liking it. The one functionality that I'm missing, and that a lot of other people have also said they're missing, is the very thing I'm talking about. Several people want a launcher to put on this. The only option that you currently have is the essentially what would be like the pinning a taskbar. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So if I come down to my panel here, and I can add an applet, and when I add an applet, I can do, I believe it's an icon task list. Let me go ahead and do that. Yep. So that adds the icon task list, and what you can see is the options. Okay, there's no settings available for that. So each one of these, each time I click on one of these links, all it does is opens up a single window instance. So I really don't have the option to open up multiple using this particular item. I'd have to right click it and add a new window. And I detailed in other videos why I don't like that functionality. Now regarding a dock, some people have said, in fact I'm going to get rid of that thing now because I really don't like that. So now I have restored back the basic taskbar view that I like. So the only option now is having the item to have essentially a launcher, and that's what Cairo Dock allows me to do. Now I do know that using Budgie you can go into the panel and you can set it as a dock mode. It's pretty much useless as the dock mode, and in my opinion, of course that's a subjective thing. But regardless, what we're going to look at here today is the dock. So I have a very nice looking Cairo Dock over here on the right side of the screen. You can see I have a nice weather system over here. I have some nice stylization. When I click on one of these guys, I get some nice fire effects. I get some bounciness. As you're rotating around, I have this nice whirly, swirly effect. You'll see the transparency down behind it. So what we're going to do is show you how to do this kind of stuff. So, of course, to install the dock, and I have not encountered a whole lot of distros here that don't have the option available. So just go into your repositories and search for it. So what I'm going to do here is basically you want to install the Cairo Dock. It'll install the fallback. And now the next thing that you want to make sure you have installed is the dock plugins. This is going to give you a lot of these nice features that I have on my dock. Otherwise, it does look like a pretty boring dock if you don't have the ability to have those features. So make sure you install that from however you install software on your distro. And most distros that I've looked for it actually have it. In fact, I can't recall a distro that I've looked for it that I didn't see it. So what we're going to do here is to make, once you have your dock loaded, now some distros, when you load up the dock, it will automatically add it to the auto start. If it doesn't, and on Manjaro, it does not. So what I had to do is go into your Budgie menu, and I just simply had to go into add the auto start apps, add a command, and then just type in the Cairo Dock command. So that is what I needed to do to get the Cairo Dock loading. So let's go ahead and talk about how you might want to make some adjustments to this. So I'm going to right click down here, down at the bottom. Now there's a little panel at the top and at the bottom that I make completely transparent that you can right click around the dock, and then you'll get this menu. And I'm going to hit the configure menu here. So with the configure menu, what we're going to do is the first thing I'm going to do is I really like my dock as it is. And so I'm going to go ahead and save my theme. So if you have a dock that you like, come over here into themes, hit save. And I'm going to come over here. I'm going to save this as glass right dock. I'm going to save it with the behavior. I'm going to save it with the launchers. I'm not going to bother with building a package of the theme. If I needed to export it, I would go ahead and do that. So there we are. Now I have that saved. And now if I come down into load a theme, I should see that theme in there. What do I call that? Glass right dock. So this is the theme right there. Now other ones, I saved this one previously. I saved it just as my theme as I was experimenting with different things. Okay, so you'll see that this is another dock. Now what you'll see is this doesn't have the nice functionality, and for whatever reason I could not get the nice plugin effects working on this particular dock. So you'll see here that under this menu here I couldn't get those working, and that's actually why I changed to the other dock. So first what we're going to do is we're going to identify your theme, and then we're going to talk about some of the changes that you can make. So under your themes, and it's always important to kind of go in this order so that you basically get building what you want building here. All right, so what you can do is just click on any of these themes. Now, if it has a star, it's already downloaded. That means that it's something that I've already played with a little bit. And let's show you the default ones first. So when you select a theme and you want to use it, you want to come down here and double click or click on, do you want the launchers? What launchers do you want? What behavior do you want? All right. And if you deselect the launchers, then it's going to save whatever launchers I happen to have and keep those there. If I have that selected, it's going to give me what launchers are the default for that particular theme. And you may or may not want that. Usually you don't. So I'm always going to deselect that. I'm going to select it this time so you know what I'm talking about. And then the behavior is, how does the behavior change? I am going to keep that one checked. So I'm going to go ahead and hit apply. And then what you'll see is it's actually going to, killed my camera again. That one there, you see that it gave us some shortcuts up at the top. And I gave a nice 3D dock here at the bottom, and this is what this guy looks like as I scroll over it. So actually a very respectable looking dock. Of course, the way I run my taskbar on the bottom, this does kind of get in the way. So let's go ahead and make some adjustments to this. I'm not dead yet. Bringing my camera back. All right. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to come down here and right click on the Cairo Dock and come up and hit configure. Now what you see is that I have a lot different thumbnails here than I did, and that's why you want to select to change the launchers or to not change the launchers. If you've taken the time to get the launchers on there you want, make sure you're never porting over the launchers. All right, so what we're going to do though is on the theme, under your configuration tab, so we have our themes here, we have our configuration tab. Here is where you can select the various things that you want on your particular theme. So if I hit top here and push apply, it's probably going to crash my camera again. Okay, so here you'll see that it now gives me a dock on the top of the computer. I still have these guys here are items that are put into the dock, and those I believe are under top, current items. So I can see that I have two different top docks. I have one on the right, I have one on the left, and then I have my my main dock here. So this top dock, the top dock without the one, is the guy here that is the one with all of these items. And then top dock 2 is where we have all of our other items over here. So I have an application menu. I have my power, my logout. So that is something that is on the various different docks. First, we're going to have a look at configuring our main dock, and then we'll look at some other things. So, of course, we've already looked at the location. Now, the next thing you can do is you can set a dock behavior. I can have it hide if a window shows up, and that is hide the dock when it overlaps a current window. I can have an always on top, in which case it always will still hide a little bit. Actually, hold on. It should always be on top. I got to hit the apply button. There you go. You can see that this guy here is going to always be on top of whatever I have. We can keep the dock below, in which case the dock will fall underneath a particular item. The one that I like is, I like the reserve space for the dock. What that's going to do is it's going to basically, if I maximize a window, you'll see that it will always save that space for the dock. I can push something over it, but I get to the top, it stops, and I have to keep forcing to force it to go up. And even when it still maximizes, it still gives me the space there. So that's the one I like, but you can go ahead and pick which of those. You'll notice that it is adjusting the behavior just for the current dock. So if I pick the other one, I should be able to make some adjustments to that configuration as well. Maybe not. I don't usually work with two different docks. But regardless, we'll go back and keep working here. So we're going to reserve space for that. So the visibility of the SubDocs. A SubDoc is an item that you can have a nested behavior. So it looks like on this one, the office, I think that's this one here, has a SubDoc on it. So the behavior of a SubDoc, you can appear on mouse hover over. So here's a mouse hover over and the SubDoc appears. Or appear on click, in which case I have to click it for the SubDoc to appear. All right. Now the behavior on the taskbar. What this guy means here is that it's going to give us the ability, if I hit separated, then what it does is it's going to give me an item for each one of the items that I currently have open. So you'll notice that whatever I have down at on my basic taskbar at the bottom, I have actually up here as well. That's what it means as separated. See, so integrated means that it's going to stack up. So there's two items over here, and that's because there's two of the camera views here. And then minimalistic, let's see if that one does. Okay, so that's just going to give me an item for each of these. This is essentially the type of behavior that we get on a Mac, which honestly, I use this in some cases, and I'll talk about that in a little bit, but otherwise I generally don't like this. I actually keep this set as none, which basically means that my dock never changes based upon the items that I have open, and that's my preferred option as well. But you can have all those on as well. Of course, if you pick these, you can choose, are they before, or at the beginning of the dock, before the launchers, after the launchers, at the end, or after a given certain icon. So you can have those various items as well. Now, the next item, and this is where you will start to have some items available, and some of my themes for whatever are not supporting these, and this is why I just selected a theme that supported them, and then I just went ahead and made the customizations that I want. So over here, I can blink. So this is on mouse hover over and on mouse click. So I have the same items under each case. For simplicity, I'll show you what each of these do on the mouse hover over. So blink means that it's going to flash as I hover over. You see what that kind of looks like there. Now this one here, the workspace switcher, is a customized item, so it behaves a little bit different. On my preferred dock, my weather behaves that way, so the animations will not apply. The bounce means as I hover over, it'll bounce. Busy, this will, actually add like a blurry type effect to it. Pulse will give me this nice pulsy effect, which is actually a very cool one. That's actually one that I might like to go for. Rotate is another one. Spot, we'll kind of do that. Wave will give me some like a wavy effect on the icons. And and here's our wobblies. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and use pulse for now. I usually use either pulse or rotate. Now under the effects, this one here, you'll see the effects do not show up. And so we will have to pick a different theme to do the effects. And this is the thing, I'm not sure exactly how to get effects into a given theme if they're not there. Maybe under the advanced mode we can look for that. Now the next tab though, this is still under the simple mode. We're going to go into the appearance. So under the appearance you can do system style, which is going to adjust this based upon whatever the basic system settings are, or custom will go with whatever you happen to set or the theme sets. So if you click on the coloration, you can pick a variety of transparencies, a variety of solid colors. So you'll see what that looks like there. Or if you can do custom, you can pick your various color and your transparency. So what I do for mine to get rid of everything is I just set this as transparent, but what you see is you still have this border. That border is something you need the advanced mode to get rid of, and I'm going to walk through that in a minute. Now your icon themes, custom means it picks whatever icons are available for that theme, but I have a variety of different icons installed, so I can go ahead and pick the icons, the icon pack that I want. Whatever system icons I have installed will appear. Does not seem to like the, oh, there it goes. That's a cool Mozilla icon. Look at that. Nice lizard eye. Like it. We can choose the size of the bar, whether we want this to be very big. So very big for the people that might be harder of seeing or don't really mind having the huge icons. Or you can do very small if you're space conscious and just want a very nice dock up there. So you can do a variety of things there. So what we'll do here is I'm going to jump in advanced mode, and we're not going to cover everything in the advanced mode. I just want to show you how to do a couple of the things in here. So first, I wonder if we can get the, I'm just going to have a quick look here to see if I can get, let's see. Just want to see if I can get the styles working with a variety of other things or not. That's why I just pick a theme that has the availability of all the styles already built in. I usually take care of that myself. So, yeah, I'm not going to take the time to figure out how to do that. I don't see a quick option there. But what I'm going to go is under Behavior and under Style, you'll see that the outline color is the other thing that I want to get rid of. So if I come into here, I have the same option. And to get rid of that again, just whatever color, set the transparency at 0, hit Apply, and that's going to get rid of that effect as well. Now, if you want to do other things going back, so for example, on your icons, here you have the ability to set the zoom of the icons. You can set customizations of, for example, the reflections. So you can do a strong reflection, in which case you'll see how big they are, and then how high the reflection is. So you can do, oop, I pushed the wrong button there. So if you go with tall and hit Apply, you'll see that it gives me almost a full-size reflection. So you can really set your reflections pretty well. Pretty big, pretty small. I'm going to go ahead and make them a little bit bigger again. Again, here is making them a little bit lighter, so we have a little bit more reflectivity with a little bit larger. And then we can set the transparency, actually sets to the transparency of the icons themselves. You can see here that they're not very visible, and then as I run over them, they'll become visible again. So I set mine actually pretty close to 100, but a little bit off. So they're slightly fainter, but not much. So that's kind of how I do some of the adjustments. So you can see here from this that there's just a lot of different things that you can do inside of all these guys. We're going to go back to simple mode, and we'll talk about how we can add icons, because this is something that I think is a little bit harder to do. So if I come back to current items into my top dock, obviously to get rid of something's pretty easy. Just right click and hit the negative, and that'll get rid of it. We can get rid of spacers, we can get rid of other things. Now to add an item though, there really isn't an easy way to add an item to the dock, at least not one that I've been able to find. So your two ways are, one is you right click on your dock, get your Cairo Dock and hit Add. And then we can hit a SubDoc, a main dock, a separator, a launcher, or an applet. So I'll go ahead and hit a new item here. So now my new launcher, I can come over here and I can hit my edit. And then again, what I have to do is I have to come over here, and with my launcher, I have to give it the new name, I have to give it the icon path, and I have to give it the command. Now, if I know what my command is, I can do this. But if you're a basic user and you don't necessarily know what the command is, this can be a little bit more difficult to do. So let me tell you the workaround that I do to make this an easier thing to do. What I do is I come into my configuration and I come over here and I set my integrated taskbar behavior. Remember that thing that I said I don't generally do, but there's occasions where I use it. So if I want to add Simple Screen Recorder to a dock, now that I'm running Simple Screen Recorder, I can right click, I can come over here, Simple Screen Recorder, and I can make it a launcher. Now it adds to my launcher mode. I can turn off my taskbar behavior, and now I have the icon without having to do anything to it. That's literally how I'm adding a variety of different launchers to my things. It's so much easier than going in and having to look up the command, especially if you're a new Linux user and you just want to get a dock working and you don't know what the commands are. So that's kind of what I'm doing there. Now, though, what we're going to do, I'm going to go back and repeat that because I want to make sure that I'm going to here use my launchers and use my theme behaviors because I want to restore my dock back. It gives you this warning that, hey, I've changed this. Do I want to save it? I don't, so I'm going to hit my check mark. And then it's going to close everything out, crash my camera again, and now I have my icons back. Now, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to do an icon. Let me bring my camera back. So what we are going to do is I forgot to add a dock onto here, and that is that for those following along with my Manjaro build, I did finally get Skype working. Yay, Skype works. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to come over Cairo Dock. I'm going to hit my configure button. Oop, I think I missed it. I missed my configure button. I hit my configure button. I'm going to come over onto my taskbar, apply that, figure out where Skype is. Okay, so here's Skype. I'm going to right-click on Skype. I'm going to make it a launcher. That's something that I wanted to do before. So now I'm going to come over. I'm going to no taskbar behavior. So the next thing I want to do is I need to edit the Skype icon. Now, first, if you want to move an icon around, so if I want Skype else, I can just hold it and drag it and drop it somewhere. So I'll go ahead and move it up there. You'll see that there its icon, it's hard to read. It just says Skype, and it's just a generic file. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to see if the glass icon set here actually has an icon for Skype. If not, I'll probably just end up using something else in the system. I could build one, but I don't really want to mess with that. So what I am going to do is I'm going to come over to my folders here. I should actually change this subfolder so it looks a little bit cooler, a little bit more matching my theme. I'm going to go ahead and just I'll just hit whatever because all I need is to go into other locations, into my computer, user, share. I'm going to find icons. And this is the glass icons. Ice Glass, I think is the name of it. And 64 apps. And then what I'm actually going to do is I'm just going to see if Skype happens to be in here at all. So there actually is a Skype icon. It's just not using it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to right-click on Skype, and I'm going to hit the Edit button. It's going to load up my configuration and set it up. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to change my image path. I'm going to click on this guy here. And then what I need to do is pick the icon. So I'm going to go back into my user, share, icons, Ice Glass, 64 apps, and I'm just going to type in Skype, click that. So that will be set in there. Now I go ahead and push the apply button, and now you'll see that we have a Skype view there. So that's how I'm adding an icon onto each of these items. Okay, so there we are. We have used the Cairo Dock. We've changed the icons. We've added some launchers to it. We've done some configuration. We've moved it around. So that is all of the functionality I want to talk about here today so far. So with that, thanks for watching. I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.